When it comes to increasing your vertical jump, if the goal comes down to wanting to increase your vertical jump as quick as you can in the shortest amount of time possible, then I think the best exercise would actually depend on your movement patterns and a little bit of where your strengths and weaknesses lie. For a lot of people out there, you'll start to get natural tendencies as to hip dominant athletes, knee dominant athletes. Do they recruit or generate more power through their hips or a little bit more through their quads? So obviously the back squat being a little bit more of a knee dominant movement and the trap bar being a little bit more of a hip dominant movement. Obviously in any training program, you're going to be hitting anterior or posterior chain movements. But let's say you only have a few weeks, you're only working out maybe twice a week on top of everything else that you're doing, then yeah, maybe choosing an exercise directly correlated to exploiting some of that already presented strength would be more beneficial in the short term. Similar to, I have a video pinned on my GAPT performance page, essentially being whether or not someone would want to do more plyometrics or more strength-based exercises. So similar concept applies. Depending on lifting history, so how comfortable someone is in the weight room, usually I would say a trap bar deadlift probably is what's going to give the most bang for your buck, mostly because from an injury preventive standpoint, it's a lot safer. As soon as you feel your form may break, you can just drop the weight. The movement probably most represents a vertical jump stance and position anyways. And you can always try and manipulate heel heights or where you're grabbing the weight from or how you're hinging to potentially get a little bit more out of the movement. And then depending on how you're performing these movements, the back squat, the trap bar deadlift, I think whichever exercise would also benefit you more depending on what your jump style is. I was predominantly a 1 foot jumper, so a lot of my strength came from above 90 or even more of like that quarter squat. If I were to squat, it was usually box squats where I could load up the weight a little bit more and I wasn't doing a complete range of motion. Trap bar deadlifts, depending on your height or how you're grabbing the bar, you're probably not going to get as much range of motion as you would with a squat. But I think it really just depends on comfortability, your competence in those movements, and what you feel is going to get the most out of you. Depending on what exercise, there's obviously different targets and baselines that can usually extrapolate and predict vertical jump performance. So for example, usually getting into any sort of plyometric training, you would want to have some sort of foundational strength and structure in your muscles and tissues, tendons, to be able to handle the load and resistance that your body deals with those very rapid forces in plyometrics. So like the depth drops, the bounding, that sort of thing. So having a squat right around 1.5 times your body weight is usually an adequate amount for a baseline level of strength prior to any sort of plyometric training. Usually the predictors are going to be like a 2.5, 2 times body weight trap bar deadlift. When you start slowly working up towards those numbers, that's usually going to put you in the range of those high 30, 40-inch vertical jumps. My personal recommendation would obviously be to combine both movements, maybe doing a squat on your day 1 and a trap bar deadlift on a day 2. The squat, depending on how you're performing them, can provide a little bit more range of motion and general raw strength. And the trap bar, with its slightly more limited range of motion, can be used as a little bit more of a dynamic vertical jump specific movement. But I will be reopening my athletic performance community very shortly. So in there, I do have some free training available. And so just literally having free templates for you guys that you can go through that will literally put a few inches on your vertical jump very, very quickly. But yeah, hopefully I didn't rant too much. Hopefully that answers your question. I think to sum up, depending on what exercise you decide to stick with or what you want to kind of put up as what is the best, it's going to come down to what your competency level is, where your strengths and weaknesses lie in your sort of biomechanics and movement patterns. And then there's a little bit of that injury preventative component tied into with that competency of how you're actually able to perform the movement. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about this video. Leave a comment down below if you got any questions or you have a critique or a thought to go along with this video. But if you guys got any more questions about trying to develop that athleticism, then just leave a comment down below, send me a DM, and I will be sure to make a video as quickly as I can and so we can get you guys fired up. Peace.